Have you ever looked up at the moon and wondered how it just hangs there in the sky? Or why your feet always stay on the ground? Well, let me tell you the story of a very quiet boy whose questions like these would one day change the world. Can you picture it? A dark and stormy night. The sound of rain tapping gently on the window and the wind whispering secrets through the trees. The kind of night that makes you want to snuggle up, warm and safe. And inside a small, cozy house on that very night, a new baby was born. He was so small, so tiny and delicate that his mother held him close and whispered for him to grow strong. His name was Isaac Newton. Well, Isaac did grow strong. He grew up in a world full of green fields and big, shady apple trees. Now, while the other kids were running and shouting and playing their games, Isaac, he was a little different. He was the quiet boy who just loved to watch. He found magic in things that most people didn't even notice. He'd sit for ages watching a tiny ant trying to carry a crumb bigger than itself. Or he'd watch the leaves dance and wonder what made them move. You see, his favorite game was simply watching the world. And at night, he would lie on his back in the cool grass and just stare up at all the stars sprinkled across the sky. And he'd whisper a little question, maybe just to himself. Why do they shine? But see, Isaac didn't just watch and wonder. That wasn't quite enough for him. He had to understand how things worked. So he started building things. He even made a little cart that could move all on its own. Not to show off, but just because he really wanted to understand. So years went by, as they always do, and Isaac grew into a young man. One day, he was home from his university, with lots of quiet time to think. And on a warm afternoon, he found himself sitting all alone under a very familiar apple tree. Everything was so still and quiet. You could almost hear the silence. And then, a sound. A simple, soft thud. An apple had let go of its branch and landed right there in the grass next to him. He picked it up. Now, most of us would have just taken a bite, right? But not Isaac. Another question popped into his head. A question so simple, most people never think to ask it. Why did it fall straight down? Why didn't it float off to the side or even drift up? And as he looked from the small apple in his hand all the way up to the big, pale moon hanging in the sky, an amazing idea sparked in his mind. What if the same invisible pull that brought the apple to the ground was the very same pull that was holding the moon up in the sky? And right there, in that quiet moment under a tree, a huge, world-changing idea was born, all from a tiny little moment of wonder. He decided to give that invisible pull a name, gravity. But that wasn't the end of his story. Oh no. For Isaac, that falling apple, that was really just the beginning. His mind was always buzzing, always humming with new questions. He asked why about everything. He discovered the secret rules that explain how everything moves. He took a beam of light and found a beautiful hidden rainbow tucked away inside it. And he even built a brand new kind of telescope just so he could see his beloved stars better than ever before. You know, when he was much older, a child asked him how he learned so many incredible things. And Isaac just smiled, this gentle smile, and said he learned it all by never being afraid to ask why. Isaac became very famous. Kings and queens knew his name. They even made him a knight, Sir Isaac Newton. But you know what? Even with all of that, deep down inside, he was still that same quiet boy from the fields, always watching, always wondering. And that's the real magic of his story. It isn't about becoming famous or being called a genius. It's something much simpler. Isaac showed all of us that the biggest, most incredible ideas can grow from the smallest, quietest moments. He taught us that asking questions is never silly. In fact, it's a kind of magic. It means your curiosity is your very own superpower. So maybe tonight, when you're all tucked in and cozy, you can peek out your window and find the moon hanging there in the dark. Or maybe tomorrow, you'll just be watching a single raindrop as it races down the glass. And whenever you see one of those small, simple things, I hope you'll remember Isaac and ask yourself a very gentle question. Just why? You don't even need to find an answer, because sometimes the wondering is the most beautiful part of it all. The world is just filled with amazing secrets, waiting for someone to notice them. And maybe, just maybe, the next great discovery is waiting for someone exactly like you to simply look up and ask, why?